Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for having me join you virtually today. I certainly wish I could be there with all of you. I'm looking forward to sharing some of my journey, one of joining Ford as a design leader and working from scratch to create, evolve, and scale DFord, a human-centered design organization inside a massive global product and manufacturing company. This journey has been about harnessing the power of business, technology, and design to create a better future, humanizing all that we create and how we work. So, Ford, a Fortune 12 company, beloved and trusted brand in the minds of so many, and in the midst of transforming its business. It's also a large, complex organization, nearly 200,000 employees around the world, with tremendous talent and capacity for scale. I'm happy sharing my thoughts with you because no matter how big or small the scope and scale of your challenge, there are opportunities to charter new directions, build movement, and humanize the way in which work gets done. And this is to create the right products and services for the people you wish to serve, while also creating new value for your organization and the world. At Ford, we've recently launched a 2021 F-150, an all-new Bronco, our first battery electric vehicle, the Mustang Mach-E, and we've announced our second battery electric vehicle with the 2022 F-150 Lightning, as well as a new small and versatile pickup truck, the Maverick, just a couple of days ago. And in addition to Ford's traditional products, which are vehicles, we now have the platforms and systems in place for over-the-air updates that enable new types of products and services to be rolled out over time. So in an industry previously thought about in terms of new vehicle sales, now there are new ways to keep things fresh while continuously updating products and surrounding services. And while I know this capability isn't new to the world, and especially in products and technology, it's still relatively new for the automotive industry and the vehicles that move us around. So any company today, and especially the automotive industry, there's a need to keep pushing, reinventing, and disrupting in all these areas. So, what is the role of a design leader inside a large legacy company? And in this case, a 117-year-old automotive giant. There was a steep learning curve when I arrived at Ford 6 years ago. And my career hasn't been solely in the automotive space. I've been focused at the forefront of digital transformation, inventing what's next from early design of mobile phones and devices to streaming services accessible from any device at any time. And it was a time of working on these products, and people would ask questions like, why would you ever want a camera on a phone when I already have a camera that does that job? And why would I ever want to watch what we would previously call a TV show on your laptop or a phone? So when I joined DFord, I knew I had a big opportunity to help advance using a human-centered approach to identifying new possibilities and unlocking the next generation of products and services. Ford had already been exhibiting a very future-oriented, experimentative mindset with mobility pilots around the world. So how could I bring the power of design and humanity into this space? And when I came in, I quickly realized that half of my job was about creating the best opportunities for products and services, and the other half was about transforming the way we work, bringing a human-centered design toolkit and leaning into mindsets and behaviors like optimism and curiosity for possibilities, empathy for colleagues as well as customers, and valuing the collaboration of diverse teams across the enterprise to work together, roll up our sleeves, solve any type of challenge, and get to a better solution together. So I love these big challenges. I stepped right in to create and build a new human-centered design team and practices. So DFord, what is it? Why does it exist at Ford? So Ford exists to help build a better world where every person is free to move and pursue their dreams. And DFord helps build this world through creativity, empathy, and design. So we have two key objectives. The first is to push the edges of Ford's strategy, designing the winning new products and services that customers love and drive business profitability. And how do we do that? We're applying our human-centered design toolkits to creatively solve problems. So for anyone who might be less familiar with human-centered design, it encompasses just a few key practices in a very iterative way. We do research, observing people in their lives, getting inspired by the world around us, gaining an understanding of the challenge at hand, looking to uncover insights, identify unmet needs and opportunities. And we're using our design crafts to imagine new ideas, quickly experimenting and prototyping. And we're prototyping primarily in low fidelity ways, just to make our thinking and our ideas tangible. And from there, we're relentlessly iterating and seek to break through the best solutions. And breaking through to a new solution, something unique, is highly more likely when you're collaborating with a variety of people who have different backgrounds, skills, and experiences. and who each challenge and build upon those ideas so that we can really hit that sweet spot of creating a new solution that is desirable to people, it's viable to the business, and it's feasible to be able to implement. And then, of course, the work is to develop the best solutions and really get them into the hands of customers as quickly as possible. So when I first was getting started at Ford, we were building from scratch. We had a small and growing number of team members and partners and a few priority projects to dig into. And one of those projects was to become the next F-150, the 2021 F-150. As you can imagine, it might be daunting to take on what's next for America's best-selling vehicles for 40 years running. There were a lot of questions about what was next and some hypotheses and lots of debates, but a few things felt pretty clear. Focusing only on what was previously best in class claims and capabilities around towing or torque, those were really maxing out and were no longer going to differentiate. So the question was, what would? And we went to work with our partners in marketing, design, and engineering. And then, of course, using our humans in our toolkit, our time was spent together understanding people, uncovering those unmet or untapped needs, and based on that, starting to prototype possible ideas for the future product. And in this case, again, what was it going to take to maintain more than 4 decades of market dominance? So we spent time with people and their trucks. A couple of days at a time, we were with them at work, at home, during play, errands, exciting family moments, during their pursuit of hobbies, and even boring, trivial, everyday moments at work, at home, and everywhere in between. So we got to see a lot and watch how they use their trucks and other tools in their lives. So I was in Colorado with a pickup truck owner, and he traveled to work at remote oil fields all over the Western United States. And he worked really long, hard days, 14 days straight on the job, and he wasn't getting a lot of sleep when he was on site. And when he finished that 14th day, he was ready to go home to his wife, his 2 young kids, and he would start that 14-hour drive, but he would rarely make the drive without stopping. He didn't want to spend the cash or the time at the motel, so what does he do? He pulls over in his pickup truck, sleeps for 3 or 4 hours. But sometimes it's too hot, sometimes it's too cold. He doesn't want to continuously keep his truck running to stay warm or cool and run out of fuel. So he gets a little shut-eye, but not quality rest, and just powers through to get home. So one story, but after we spend time with customers like this person, we're all coming back together. And soon enough, what we learned were that all of the people we were with, every single one of them were sleeping in their trucks. Sometimes it was just a midday nap at a job site, or a couple going on a long haul trip for an adventure vacation, and many more examples. So from that, we start to explore, can we make a better solution for being able to sleep comfortably, since they really value their truck as a place where they like to be in their lives? Can we make a laid flat seat so that our customers can rest comfortably and it's not, and do that in a way that's not cost prohibitive? And we have so many incredible engineering experts in this area. So we chose to focus on this as one of our key opportunities to differentiate and delight these customers who we know use and love their truck for so many things in their lives. And this was just one example of taking action on an insight that could really matter for people. But overall, our observations ultimately led us to focusing on a product that could be a hub for work and for play. So our work was fast-moving, highly iterative, and part of the process is figuring out what not to change or focus on. So ideas need to be explored quickly and expressed quickly, tangibly through a sketch or any other kind of low risk, low cost, low fidelity prototype, and then determine what to put to the side and what to pursue. And of course, this work, again, we relied heavily on a high degree of collaboration to get to the best winning solutions. So we were in very deep with Ford engineers, designers, marketers to make this a reality. And some other observations that led us to the product you see today is that people not only use the bed to haul tools and supplies, but they also were using generators for power tools and other appliances. I just heard one of our team members describe to me that, you name it, our truck drivers, they are charging it in their trucks, crock pots, tools, TVs, whatever it might be. So in addition, we found people were doing work and other family activities around the bed day and night. They're using power tools on the job, they're tailgating, they're preparing food or organizing games at the campsite. Again, the bed was their hub. And as an exterior hub, we eventually created some built-in electric power for all those tools and appliances, and we created improved exterior lighting for those early morning, late night activities around their hub. And in addition to that, we also created a workbench or a tailgate work surface. And we added some small details, such as a built-in ruler, easily attachable areas for clamps, and places to store tools and pencils, and all to make the bed, again, more usable as a mobile workshop. And the culmination of these things, again, their hub is just to help make people more powerful, faster in what they're trying to do, and more productive. We also watch people do all sorts of things inside their vehicles, viewing schematics, catching up on paperwork, entering data on their laptops, and more. And of course, many people have meals in their trucks in a variety of weather conditions, just as a place of shelter. So for the interior, we created a work surface or a table to really aid in individual productivity or even small groups, again, huddling around a plan for what they needed to accomplish for the day. And of course, to more easily enjoy a meal in the truck quietly. So with that hybrid electric vehicle, we could also more efficiently provide that type of climate control while sitting in the truck doing these tasks, whether heating or cooling was needed to help regulate the temperature and get an hour's worth of paperwork done. And overall, there was nothing gimmicky about any of these solutions. It was simple, robust design technology solutions that were all with a purpose aligned to our customer values. So I want to talk a little bit too, because of course those are coming up with the ideas, but let's talk about how to make those ideas happen. Because we had all these concepts, we were very generative in the process, and eventually we were working towards building the confidence to ultimately commit to pursue the best opportunities that we had identified. And what does it look like to move that forward? So when more and more teams, and in our case at Ford, it's eventually thousands of people who get involved, um, uh, from design and engineering, we found that the most engaged and committed teams understood why we were pursuing these opportunities, meaning what was it going to do for the customers? How would it help them make their work and play better? So by knowing and understanding these things, it empowered them to make ideas better and stronger every step of the way, especially during trade-off discussions. And as we know, when we're trying to make something real, inevitably there comes a time when you have to have those trade-off conversations. You bump up against some feasibility. So knowing the customer, why these solutions were so fitting to their lives and needs, allowed teams to jump into action. And in some cases, finding an even better solution that still met the need, was highly desirable, while also engineering something that was highly viable and feasible. So developing this understanding helped build even stronger connections and empathy with our customers. And the teams ultimately could advocate for the customer and carry that vision and excitement throughout their work, from design and engineering all the way to production, manufacturing, and marketing. And of course, the result is what you see out today for the 2021 F-150. And really excitingly, we took further action on these insights to push what could be created and manifested in the first version of our fully electrified F-150, the F-150 Lightning, again, announced just in recent weeks. We're really excited to bring this robust tool to people. I mean, it's so robust that you can power your home for many, many hours. So we're really excited that we could amplify and accelerate some of those original insights. And while I shared, of course, in these examples, many physical aspects of the product, I just say with our over-the-air update capabilities, what's possible with our F-150 and of course many other vehicles moving forward is that we'll continue to push new digital products and services. So there's so much more to come on that front, and more to come. In our journey, we were creating and continuing to grow, learn, and scale, and the world was hit. COVID-19, a global pandemic, really, of course, impacted the world. And for Ford, that meant we had to stop work, we had to stop our assembly lines, and we couldn't sell any vehicles. So during that moment, we were transitioning to remote work for those who could continue their jobs virtually. And there were so many unknowns at that time. And one thing was clear, though, Ford was very eager to step in and step up, and use our talents, resources, and scale in any way that we could to help. And D Ford specifically was really ready and eager to respond quickly. We were well positioned to help apply our human-centered toolkits that we've been building over the years. So we learned early on that personal protective equipment was a need. There was a dire shortage, and a specific request for face shields to protect some of our frontline workers. So our team immediately jumped into action. And what was truly amazing is in a 1-week period, we responded to that request fast, focused. And we were able to actually ship the first 10,000 face shields to local healthcare workers in the Detroit area of Michigan. And amazing, like, how did we do that in a week? First, D Ford jumped into action with, again, some research, prototyping, testing, refining, all, of course, while working 100% virtually, when we were normally used to standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder, building on each other's ideas. And of course, we're talking to medical care workers to understand and really empathize with their urgent needs. What were their pain points around protecting themselves and ensuring they had their appropriate coverage and any other fears and challenges they were having. So we quickly prototyped possible solutions through everyday objects. You can see a cardboard prototype there, just with some elastic, simple elastic. Again, this was just meant to quickly build on each other's ideas as fast as we could. And as we got feedback and started to refine, we were also working with, of course, our engineering and manufacturing partners across Ford to determine how we could procure materials, assemble the face shields, and produce them at scale. So many teams and experts across Ford really jumped in to manufacture and scale this endeavor. And now that we had, of course, all these face shields that we designed and produced, we had another big question, which was who and how we could get them to the communities in need. So once again, our team jumped into design and distribution strategy and plan. So we worked around sensing the COVID hotspots based on publicly available data, and then we could really just connect with those communities in need, offer them, and ship them to those places. So excited and proud to say that we eventually distributed over 22 million face shields in the US alone. We've also distributed across Europe in response to this. And of course, again, we were able to respond so quickly because we have the toolkits, we have the collaborative powers, we've got the scale of Ford, and we've just been laying this foundation over the last 5 years to pivot to something like this so fast and so effectively. And I'm incredibly proud of what Ford could contribute. It's really been part of the DNA of Ford to step up and support in times of need. And in prior crises, World War II, there were B-24 bombers being built. We've created ventilators for premature babies and iron lungs during the polio epidemic. So during COVID, Ford also collaborated with GE to make respirators and 3M with purified air purifying respirators or PAPRs, and just used, again, on-hand materials to create everything that we could, including medical isolation gowns. And another proud moment, just having a team member who was so inspired and curious by the work that we had done around the face shields that he really worked to iterate on ideas around face masks. So we just recently shared we're pursuing a path to create and manufacture a clear respirator to see people's lips and expressions. And it's been really innovative work, rigorous prototyping, just to continue to explore and experiment and see where we can make the most impact. Okay, so how do you build and sustain a strong capability like this at scale? Well, I'd say you really need to build the muscles in daily practices for the long haul, because this type of work isn't about pursuing what's already well known and understood or simply delivering what might be known as the backlog, but finding what's next and really building the confidence and de-risking the choices through some of these human-centered iterative processes. So even when we're moving quickly, short time-boxed exploratory sprints, there's rigor in our iterative human-centered design. You have to keep working it and moving through what can be uncomfortable moments, moments of ambiguity, periods of highs and lows, and really just asking, did we uncover a compelling insight? And through making, are we pushing our ideas further? Did we move beyond the obvious solutions? Can we dig any deeper? Did we get good critique and feedback to test our thinking? And then teams need to develop the experience and wisdom to make a call on, of course, did we come up with the right ideas? And should we be converging and focusing at this point? And or when do we need to pivot and start diverging again? So it's really about developing all those senses, and expertise as a group. To get better at all of this year, our global team, we try to keep it fresh. We want everyone to really focus, improve, have these opportunities to develop. We had 4 key areas related to design excellence, or as we like to call them, our superpowers. So it's just another small example of how we're focusing on design excellence as a team to really be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve and deliver for the business. And with this effort, we're sharing stories, best practices and tips, new methods and tools, and other learning resources for our teams, just to keep them energized, inspired, and again, ready to deliver on the mission. And so, we talked a little bit about the rigor and the design-oriented practices so that we can break through. And then I want to talk a little bit too about the rigor in delivering the solution to market, because we're only as good as what we ship. Meaning, even if you have amazing ideas, if you're not able to implement them and get them in the hands of customers, it's this lost opportunity. So for a large, complex organization, one of the hardest parts can be building that confidence to act on the ideas. And meaning like the act of committing, investing the time, the people, and more to making it the best thing it can be. And I know this can be especially difficult when a product might not be part of a company's historical offering. This can be new and uncomfortable territory. And it really requires the teams, again, across design, business, and technology to equally commit and pursue together. Because you can't act on every single thing you learn or every single idea you have. Um, you might have insights that led to six, seven, or a dozen opportunities, but they don't all have the same potential for your business or organization. So bringing those people together across business and technology to help evaluate, discuss the merits, the upsides, the downsides, and really understand what are the best ones that hold up in the future. What are the most differentiated? What are the ones that are going to matter most to our customers? And then go after those and put everything in it to deliver. It sounds pretty simple in theory, but honestly, in a complex, heavily regulated industry, billion-dollar investments required to bring new products to life, it can be very daunting and complex. There are many players that you really need to rally around that solution and work together to make it happen. And again, it's a dance, it's a negotiation. We all play a role in that. And it requires, again, the commitment to come together and move through that process to ship a desirable product and make it so, make sure that it lives up to, again, that desirability that our customers are looking for. And to create and sustain this capability in practice, again, you must harness that true power of the combination of business, technology, and design. So deep transformation requires a lot of change. There's new ways of working, behaving, relating, collaborating. We have to keep pushing forward in service of our customers and really building toward their future needs. And again, this is about really disrupting ourselves before someone else comes along and disrupts us. And iteration is all about change. Not every iteration is the right one. That's why you need to be highly experimentative. We use what we call sacrificial concepts to just explore ideas and learn from them and determine where to go next. Not all of it is going to stick and work, but you must keep using and applying the toolkit and just crafting as you go. So from a leadership perspective, this really means being incredibly attuned to the situation and being adaptive and responsive to any changing conditions. Again, large, complex organization, lots of people, business context may shift. So the main thing is to remember to keep moving forward, keep making progress, no matter naysayers or any number of challenges that will inevitably come to you, but just continuing forward, building the strong relationships across the business, and really listening, seeking to understand with your teams, with a C-suite, step into other shoes and take those cues and adapt where you need to adapt. And this really means you have to set aside time in your practices, your processes, in how you show up as a leader to reflect, to learn, and really just zoom out from that day to day. And just encouraging everyone to bring a designer's toolkit to everything you do. Quick iterative prototypes everywhere, not just in the new products, but how you run your teams and businesses. And then use that to amplify what's working well, to put things to the side that aren't, and really try new things when you have a spark of an idea. And those sparks of idea can come from anywhere. I'm always inviting people to share their ideas and feedback on my team. And my motto is always like, let's try it. And I really support making that happen immediately because, again, we can look at that, we can learn from it, and then decide what to do with it. Like, do we nurture it and take it to the next step? Do we pivot it? Do we stop it? So we've had some success and growth of dFord inside the larger Ford organization, design, technology, business, working together to orchestrate the best solutions for a future world and customers. And so excited about all the positive responses to the new products this year in spite of a global pandemic. So not only can we strategically make better products, even when they've already been successful, like the F-150, but we can also prepare organizations for a variety of challenges, including handling a global catastrophe and a crisis, transforming the ways in which we work by implementing a design toolkit and a set of practices that can be used in any situation. So don't be afraid to make changes, even when you have extremely successful products, because that level of innovation is where creativity and culture come together in very new and exciting ways for everyone. So if you've been in a legacy company or any kind of company that's been around for a long time, you can continue to change. Step up to the experiment, disrupt, reflect, learn, and evolve every step of the way. The work is never done, but you can keep making it better. Again, your teams, your practices, your products, your impact. And every organization is different. You can put together a toolkit that is right for you, for your particular team, for your particular organization, and any of the constraints or opportunities that you have at hand. I know we're still doing it. It definitely never ends. It's a work in progress. We're iterating all the time, but you've got to just keep progressing and leveling up. So thank you. Grazie. I really appreciate the opportunity to share, and I hope you have a wonderful event. Ciao.
Thanks, Sandy.